In this video, I'm going to give you guys all the information you need to understand crafting, and all of that info is just going to make your character much stronger. You're going to get through the acts much faster as well, and your experience with the game is just going to be much more enjoyable. And if you're having that kind of issue right now where I'm going through Act 1, Act 2, I'm killing so many enemies, but the gear that I want with the perks that I want just isn't dropping, well, then this video is going to help you, because you'll realize that those drops, the perfect drops that you're looking for, aren't the only way to gear up. There's actually a much more reliable and much more efficient way to do so. So let's get right into it. The first thing you need to know is that there's 3 rarities of items that you're mostly going to be focused on when it comes to crafting. So it's going to be white items, which are the normal items, the blue items, which are the magic items, and then you have the yellow items, which are the rare items. Now, let's say that you keep getting white items all the time. A lot of new players, what they do is they look at it, oh, you know what, this isn't good, they throw it away. But that's not what you should be doing. And that's when the crafting actually comes in. Let's say we get the staff right here that you see, and we have some materials, which are the Orb of Augmentation in this case, and Orb of Transmutation. Now, first of all, let's also take a look at the material list. Unfortunately, I don't have all of them on me right now. I'm gonna keep the camera right here so you guys see everything much clearer. So yeah, this right here is in the stash. This is a specific stash for the materials. You can buy this on the shop. You don't have to necessarily buy this. However, if you do, it will help you organize some stuff a little bit better, right? So let's get back to it. We have the staff right here, which is a normal white staff, and then we have some materials. Now, as I said, a lot of players will look at it and they're gonna go, it's not good, throw it away. But the reality is you can turn this into an extremely strong item, obviously with some luck. So the first 2 materials that are going to be dropping all over the place, you're going to have a lot of them, are going to be Orb of Augmentation and Orb of Transmutation. The first one says turns a normal item to a magic item with 1 modifier. So we're going to go ahead and turn this white item into a blue item. Boom, just like that. Now for me, I'm not running mana at all, so this is no use. But if that's what you're looking for, that's how you get that perk. Now let's say we want to add another perk. In that case, we're going to use the next orb and see what we get here. Plus 20 to intelligence. Now, for me personally, I think this is not good at all, right? So in this case, what I'm going to do is probably go to a merchant and sell this. This sells for almost 700 gold. So I'm just going to throw it in there. Okay, boom, just like that. Get some gold back, whatever. But the point here is, as you're getting these white items, you can and you should be using your orbs in order to craft better items. That is something that you have to focus on in order to progress and make your character stronger and stronger. Because if you do not do that, you are going to fall behind. Now, let's say that we have a blue item like this one that we actually like. In that case, there's another upgrade material, which is called the Regal Orb. Now, the Regal Orbs turn your blue items into gold items. So you guys see the circle, right? You have the materials that turn your normal white items into blue items and then let you add a perk to a blue item. And the same goes for the yellow items. There are materials that will turn your blue items into yellow items. And essentially, that's what crafting is in PoE 2. Now, there are some other materials that are a bit more complex and they corrupt items and then you can't touch them, whatever. But as a new player, as a beginner player, the main thing you need to know is the main materials that we just went over. Now, another thing you need to know that is very important is how many stats each of these rarities can hold. As you guys can see right here, the yellow items can hold 6 stats. And that's why it's so important. Because if you hold on to your normal items or your blue items without upgrading or just waiting for the perfect yellow item, you're just gonna fall behind. So in the perfect case scenario, you wanna get a blue item with 2 of the perks that you really like. So in this case, if I wanted the dexterity and mana, this would be a perfect piece for me. And in that case, I would use the orb to turn this into a yellow item. If that perk is good, or maybe even if it's not the best, right? For example, if you look here, there's gonna be some perks that maybe I don't like. If the majority of the perks are those that you like, in that case, it's worth it to keep adding those stats with those orbs to your item. If not, and if let's say 3 out of 4 of the stats that you see on your screen are not valuable to you, then just sell the item, try to get some boots again, maybe as a drop, like a normal white item, and keep upgrading them and then upgrade them again. So the circle continues until you get the closest thing to whatever you want. That's the goal. And obviously the goal is to have 6 perks on all of your gear pieces. For example, you see that on my helmet, I only have 4. The reason for that is that this helmet is not good for me, so I'm not spending any more materials on it. I'm gonna wait to get a decent helmet at least. And guys, that is pretty much essentially it, right? That's the crafting system of Path of Exile 2. It's much more simple than people make it out to be honest. And the main orbs you're going to need is going to be Orb of Transmutation, Orb of Augmentation, Regal Orb, and Exalted Orb. I don't have any more Exalted here. That is the basic of crafting. Now, one more thing that I want to go over is that if you do have a yellow item, let's say you're not getting a lot of Regal Orbs as a drop yet because, you know, you haven't progressed as much in the game, because they will start dropping a little bit more and more as you get higher level and get closer to the end game content. If that is not happening, but instead you are getting some yellow items, what you can do is disenchant items. So let's take a look at this item right here. We're gonna drop this over here and you will see that we get a Regal Shard. If you get 10 of these, then we will get another Regal Orb. You can only carry 20 Regal Orbs at a time. But yeah, that's another way to get all of these items as well, Disenchanting. And while I do think that gold is very, very important, if you get to the point where you think you have more than enough of it, Disenchanting can be very smart to start stacking up on your crafting materials. We also have items that improve the quality of armor and weapons. That is something that you need to keep in mind as well. Let's say you do upgrade something to the point that you like it, but the quality of the item isn't really that good. So what does that actually mean, right? That means that the stats that it rolls with aren't the highest, right? If you want to increase the quality of that, you can use items like Armorer's Scrap, for example, and you can try to get the quality of the item as high as possible, which is 20%. Once again, the most important thing about crafting is that you guys keep doing it. Don't be afraid to spend the materials. Don't be afraid to upgrade your gear, because if you do not, it will slow down the whole process of gameplay. It really will. And you will realize anyway that those materials that you're kind of sitting on right now, once you get to endgame, they're going to start dropping more, so you shouldn't be afraid to use them. And by the way, when it comes to the weapons, make sure to look out for the stat that increases your specific skills. So for example, if you're using cold skills, look out for +3 to all cold skills. That is going to increase your damage significantly, to the point that if you're just starting up the game and you get lucky and you get that roll, that roll alone on a weapon, you are going to destroy Act 1. Probably all the way to Act 3 even. And then as you roll better and better perks, add them to your weapon, you're just going to be destroying everything, right? And when it comes to your gear, go for HP. HP is so good, guys. It is a game changer. And since we're looking at the boots, also try to get movement speed. It will make your boss fights and everything also much easier as well. Those are the things you need to know about crafting. I hope I explained everything as simple as possible. If you're a new player, a beginner player that is just hopping into the universe of Path of Exile 2, all this information that we went over when it comes to crafting should get you on track, to the point that you're not going to be falling back when it comes to your weapons, your gear, all that kind of stuff, and you should have a good time. This is a phenomenal game. It really is. Probably one of the best games I've played in a while when it comes to, you know, the content, the progression, and I am going to be making more and more content, guide videos, build videos, all that kind of stuff. So if you guys did enjoy this one, and only if you did, slap the like, sub to the channel, and I'll see you all on the next one.